So the first look at the Galaxy Z Fold 8 is here, along with its specifications. And yeah, I've got a few things to say about this. Let's get into it. So OnLeaks just dropped the first look at the Z Fold 8 using the official CAD renders. And honestly, it looks exactly like the Z Fold 7. I mean, literally identical. The only real difference I can spot is its tweak to the camera bump. It's a bit softer now and has that transparent layer, kind of like what we saw on the S26 Ultra. Other than that, there are a few minor changes to the thickness. Supposedly, it's 3.9 millimeters when unfolded, making it thinner than the Z Fold 7, but 9 millimeters when folded, which is actually thicker. And yeah, that sounds a bit contradictory. Thinner when open, but thicker when closed. Doesn't exactly add up, so I won't read too much into these numbers just yet, especially considering last year's measurements for the Fold 7 by OnLeaks weren't entirely accurate either. So yeah, design-wise, don't expect anything new this year, apart from maybe some new colors. But that doesn't mean it's a boring upgrade, because this time, Samsung seems to be focusing more on some big internal changes rather than external design, starting with charging. For years, they've stuck with 25W, which is honestly ridiculous for a phone that costs this much. But finally, that's changing. The Z Fold 8 has appeared in China's 3C certification, and it shows 45W. Now, on one hand, that's a welcome improvement, but at the same time, it still feels a step behind. The S26 Ultra is already pushing 60W, so there's really no clear reason for Samsung to hold back here. But since the Fold uses a dual battery setup, the overall charging time from 0 to 100 could still end up being competitive even with 45W. Battery capacity is also getting an upgrade, moving to 5,000 mAh, and this has been confirmed through the same certification listing, so that part is pretty much locked in. Now, when it comes to the S Pen, Android headlines mentioned that Samsung might bring it back by adding a digitizer layer under the display, but that's just speculation based on the thickness increase. Personally, I don't see it happening. Samsung already said they want to bring the S Pen back without a digitizer, and since they're not doing it for the S27 Ultra, it's very unlikely we'll see it here. Same story with the privacy display. Since the Fold has two screens, Samsung would need to implement it on both, which would increase costs significantly. And given the current high component prices, it just doesn't seem practical right now. What does seem more likely is the introduction of an anti-reflective display. Samsung already used it on the Z Trifold cover screen, so there's a really good chance it comes here too. But if you ask me, I think they should add it to the inner screen, where reflections make the crease look worse, especially outdoors. And that brings us to the crease itself. The Z Fold 8 will feature what Samsung is calling a creaseless display. And unlike previous years, this isn't just speculation. Samsung already showcased this tech. Other brands like Oppo are already showing devices with their version of a zero crease on their latest foldables, and they're even mocking Samsung and the Z Fold 7 with a side-by-side comparison at their event. But the thing is, in real life, the displays on Oppo's foldables still show a slight visible crease under certain lighting conditions, so the whole zero thing is a bit misleading. Samsung's version will be better, but let's be honest, it's not going to be exactly flat either. You'll still spot it slightly if the light hits just right. But at this point, the crease is already not a big deal for most people, except maybe in bright sunlight, and this should pretty much fix even that. On the camera side, there's an upgrade to a 50-megapixel ultra-wide from 12 megapixels on the Fold 7. The 3x telephoto is also getting updated, although just like the S26 Ultra, expect some sensor cropping. Still, overall, image quality should improve slightly. There's also a new display safety feature. If something like a small object is on the screen while closing the phone, it will alert you by vibrating, similar to what we saw on the Z Fold. Other upgrades include a bigger vapor chamber for better cooling, a new hinge mechanism, and the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy. Also, Samsung is working on a Z Fold 8 Wide variant, but there are no renders of that yet. but I'll update you once we get more details. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.